Okay, this is the subtraction interview, and I'm going to do it with Geraldo. He's going to help me out, and I'm going to ask him some questions. Before I start, I need to make sure that I'm ready. So, one thing that I need here is I need to have the subtraction fluency interview so that I can record Geraldo's thinking. I've also got a cheat sheet for me. This is for me to reference to make sure I can understand all the strategies that he might use. We're looking for these specific strategies. We want him to use these ones. Also, I've got the PowerPoint slide so that he can look at the questions and we can score him that way. And then also I've got materials. For the subtraction interview, you need place value blocks, something to write with, and something to write on. Okay. The first section of the interview is the automaticity section. For this section, it's all mental math. So I'm going to ask her all the questions and just ask him to think through the answers without using any of the tools or writing anything down. Alright, Geraldo, for each of these questions, find the answer, the correct answer as quickly as you can. Okay? I'm going to score you 1 through 4. Well, 1 is you didn't know the answer or you didn't get the right answer. A 2 is that you have to stop and think about it for a little while. A 3 is that you know the answer in about 5 minutes.
5 seconds.
Sorry, 5 seconds, you got it. And a 4 is that you're automatic, knowing it pretty quick, just think without thinking too much. Okay? Are you ready? Alright, first question. Again. There we go.
Okay, 3.
Good. Geraldo was pretty automatic at that, so I'm going to give him a 4 score. Alright, next question.
9.
Good. Again, automatic, so 4.
1.
Good. Also automatic.
8.
Good. Also automatic.
2.
Again, automatic.
9.
Geraldo is really good at subtraction.
3.
4. Good. I'm going to say he was a 3 on that because he stopped to think for a couple of seconds.
5.
Very automatic.
7.
Good. So that one we're going to give a 3. Geraldo is really automatic, but we can see his scores across the top. He's mostly 4s with a couple of 3s. We would do an average of these, but for now, he's about at a 4 in automaticity. So, out of 40, you only missed 2, so you were 38 out of 40. That falls in the I'm automatic section, so you are a 4 on automaticity. Well done. For accuracy, you got all of them correct, so you're at 100%, which is a 3 for accuracy. The next section is flexibility. What we're interested in seeing is how many different strategies and their thinking about those strategies that Geraldo can use. So I'm going to ask him one question and ask him to give me use a strategy to solve it. For this next question, you can use any of these tools that I have that you need. Okay? Again, remember those are the place value blocks, the paper, and something to write with. Alright, Geraldo. And why don't you come around this way, Spencer, so you can see kind of, he's going to work in this area. Spencer's going to help us and keep zoom in. How would you solve 634 minus 247?
Okay.
You can back up so you can see everything he's doing there. There you go.
Yeah.
That's perfect, just right there.
And then see that. Minus 7. So minus 7. 4. 4. 10. Using different pens. Nine. I still take away 200. Okay, and I came up with the answer of 397.
Okay. So you can back up so you can see both of us again. Okay. So Geraldo used the strategy of a concrete model. We'll let you get set back up on there. Stage there. He used a concrete model. I can tell because it looks very similar to the model that he did here. And he was correct in the way he did it. He got the right answer. So we would say he used that strategy flexibly and with the correct successfully. So, good job, Geraldo. Well done. I'm going to circle on my key here. So what I've done on here is that I've taken some notes to show how Geraldo solved the problem. The more detailed the notes, the better, to explain to the teacher and record his thinking. He also used the concrete model strategy, so I'm going to circle that on the page. Now, Geraldo, I want you to use another strategy to solve the same problem. Okay? Now stop, Geraldo. At this point, you have the students solve the problem over and over with as many different strategies as they can until they say, I don't know any other ways to do it, and we stop. So you're not just going to ask for the two, you're going to ask for as many different ways as they can until they decide to stop. Okay? For now, Geraldo just used one strategy, but we're going to assume he knows some others. At the end of this session, we would give him a score, 1 through 6, and then score him according to the rubric at the bottom. So if he was not able to use any strategy successfully, he would be a 1. He was able to use 1, so he would be a 2. If he used 1 or 2 successful strategies, he'd be a 2. 3 or 4 is a 3, and 4 or 5 or more is a 4. Again, anytime you're looking at the strategies, make sure that you're looking at the strategies cheat sheet that I have provided. Alright, the last section of the interview is about appropriate strategy. I'm going to give Geraldo a word problem this time and ask him to solve it. Now, there are 3 word problems that I could give to Geraldo. 1, 2, or 3. They get more difficult as I go across. So, if Geraldo was only able to use one strategy, I would just give him the first problem. But if he used many strategies, I would give him the second or the third problem. I'm just going to give him the first problem for today. Okay, so Geraldo, for the next question, you may use any of these tools again that you need to. Again, the place value blocks, paper, or your thinking. Okay? Okay. Hey guys, will you go outside for just a minute? We're recording a video.
Sorry.
You're okay. Okay. Alright, Geraldo. Amber had 304 friends on Facebook. She deleted 139 people that she didn't know very well. So, how many friends does she have now?
Okay, I came up with the answer of 163.
Great. Okay. At this point, zoom out for just a second so you can see us both again.
Show him that.
Okay, so at this point, he's shown his answer and given his answer. Now I'm going to ask him about his thinking so I can see how he thought about the problem. So Geraldo, how did you get the answer, 163?
So what I did first is I had to minus 9 from 4, but I can't do that. So I had to go to the next column, which is a 0, so I had to go to the next column after that. So I crossed it out because it was a 3, so I crossed it out, and now it was a 2, so I could use 100. And this was a 10, but I changed it. I took one 10 out so I could add it to the 4, so now it's a 9. So I got 14 in the ones column, and I minus 9, and I got 3. So then I had 9 in the tens column, and I minus 3 from it, and I got 6. And I minused 1 from 2, and I got 1, so I got the answer of 153.
Great job. He did a great job explaining his answer. So now I'm going to give him a score on his use of his appropriate strategy. I'm going to zoom into my paper so you can see how I scored him. First, I took notes again of how Geraldo thought about the problem. If I wanted to, if I had some time, I would jot down some notes about his explanation as well, if there's some space. Geraldo did a great job using the appropriate strategy, especially on a difficult problem, which has a 0 in the tens place. So he was able to clearly explain his appropriate strategy, but unfortunately, he made a simple mistake in calculating. He said 14 minus 9 was 3, when 14 minus 9 is actually 5.
Oh,
that's okay, though. That's okay. So I'm going to, for this time, give him a 1 because he didn't get the correct answer. However, I've marked down his strategy and showed that he used the strategy correctly. So it still helps me to know exactly where where I need to work with him on. Okay? Great job, Geraldo. You did really good. So I'm going to give you again a 1 on appropriate strategy for now. But know that you just made a simple mistake. Okay? Great job. Okay? In the end, I've got my paper and I've scored him for automaticity, accuracy, flexibility, and appropriate strategy. Again, it's really important to use as many notes as possible to explain the thinking of the student so that we can keep a record of that. Awesome. Good job.